What's up, guys? I'm Hillbilly Dude, and today we're going to talk about this Crescent pocket knife. So this is a perfect example of a working man's pocket knife. It's made by Crescent Tools. They don't really have any cool names or anything for this model. The only name information I could find on this particular model was just CPK350A, which I assume stands for Crescent Pocket Knife 3.5 inch aluminum. They make this in 4 different options: aluminum, composite handles, 3.25 inch blade, 3.5 inch blade, drop point, and harpoon point. This is the most expensive of the 4 models. This is the 3.5 inch harpoon point aluminum handled version, and it's $25. The cheapest out of the 4 I think is $18. You can find all of these on Amazon. I'll put a link below. This is the model I chose, and I've been really happy with it. It's got a 3.5 inch harpoon point blade made out of D2 steel. It does have a full aluminum handle on it. It does weigh in a little heavier than I really would prefer my EDC pocket knife to be. Normally I carry this Kershaw Blur, and this Kershaw Blur weighs in around 3.8 ounces. I weighed this one in at 5.8 ounces, so it's a little heavy, but I carried a buck 110 for a long time, and it's 7.3 ounces, so this is still kind of middle of the road. But just know that you are getting a good chunk of metal here that you're going to be carrying around. Now, I can't speak for how much the composite handled version weighs, but I know this aluminum handle, it's all there. It's a solid knife. I've carried this dude around on and off for a little over 2 years now, and it's been great for me, especially for the value. This is not a super expensive pocket knife. This is a very affordable pocket knife that is not only budget friendly, but it's also extremely durable. It locks out really tight even after using it for the past 2.5 years. It does have a liner lock right here, and I've not had any issues with this liner lock being loose or not locking out or, you know, wanting to close on me. It does lock out nice and solid. It's not spring assisted, but it does have ball bearings right here in the pivot point, and they gave you a flipper. So that works just fine for me. It glides open really smooth. These ball bearings allow there to be very little friction, so it's not hard to get it open. You don't even really have to flick your wrist. You can just kind of punch that flipper and it'll lock out. But a little flick of the wrist does make it, you know, a little quicker. But yeah, I've never had any issues with that. And also, one good thing I like about the flipper is it kind of allows you to have a little bit of a finger guard right there whenever you're holding on to it. The D2 blade steel they used in this version held up really well. I've sharpened this up a lot of times, and I've used it in some pretty heavy cutting tasks at work and at home, and I've never had any issues with it. It's easy enough to touch up. It does take a little bit more work to get an edge back on it, but it also holds an edge pretty well, so no complaints there. I don't really particularly care for a harpoon point design, but if you're looking for a really fine tip design, this is the one to choose from. That kind of scares me because I'm always afraid I'm gonna snap it off. I've snapped off the tip on my clip point buck 110 a long time ago, and I just had to kind of reprofile the edge. I expected that to happen to this one. So far so good though. Like I said, I've carried it on and off for a long time now, and I've even used the little tip in there for prying and working on machines and doing different stuff, and I have yet to break it off, knock on wood. But it's held up really good so far, and I don't have any complaints about this knife. For $25, you're getting a real bargain. Like I said, there's 4 other models to this. You can get this in a 3.25 inch blade. That's a drop point, and that's probably the next model I'll get if I get another one of these. I really like that drop point look a lot better. It's a little bit shorter blade compared to this 3.5. And you can get that in aluminum handles or composite handle. You can also get the full 3.5 inch harpoon point in composite handle as well. Now, the only difference in steel is that both of the composite handled versions come in 5CR15 MOV stainless steel, which isn't a big deal. That's still pretty good pocket knife steel, but I really like this D2 steel. I know for a fact that it will hold up good because I've used and abused this thing, and it hasn't let me down yet. So this has been my main carry for a little over 3 years now. It's the Kershaw Blur. I've got 2 other videos on this. I'll put the links in the description. And it's been great. It's a little bit lighter. It's a little bit slimmer profile, very similar in blade size. But this thing has been excellent for me, and I really enjoy carrying it just because of the slim profile and the lightweight. It's got a good steel, good blade edge. It doesn't wear out. It doesn't need touched up every day or anything like that if you're using it. But I will say that even though I carry this the majority of the time, I will swap it out with this every once in a while, just because I enjoy carrying this. And if I'm using this real heavy at work or at home or whatever, and I don't have time to retouch up the edge, I'll just throw it on the shelf and I'll pick up this one, carry it for a few days until I get a chance to put an edge back on my Kershaw. But I wouldn't hesitate to carry this as an EDC every single day, as long as I've got the time to touch it up if I'm going to use it for a really heavy, cutting task. This fine tip does work really good for opening packages, cutting cardboard boxes. Where I work, we have a lot of large cardboard totes, and having a good point to get through that real thick cardboard works out really well. And then a good heavier knife like this that's rigid works really good, where you can double hand it and slice through a lot of that cardboard and that kind of stuff. Also, this harpoon point is probably really beneficial if you're going to use this more for what it was designed for, which I think was kind of a tradesman knife. If you're doing trim or flooring or something in a house, being able to get into those little fine points and corners with a tip like that would be really handy. I put some light scoring right there on this front side of this aluminum handle, just because it's plain. It's not really slick, but if your hands get greasy or wet or whatever, I just like having a little bit more texture. I'm probably going to go back through and do like some cross hatching or something, put a little more grip on there, and then probably do the same on the back as well, because it's just smooth aluminum. Now, it does have a deep carry pocket clip if you're interested in that. I've left mine on. This is probably the longest that I've owned a knife that I've left the pocket clip on, just because I normally don't do it. I like putting it all the way down in my pocket. I don't like it getting caught on stuff or it kind of getting in the way of my hand if I'm reaching for my keys or something else in my pocket. I like these to just lay all the way in the bottom of my pocket. But I've left this one on for so long because where I work, I usually have gloves on my hands. So if I'm carrying this with me at work, it's nice being able to just clip it on my pocket and not have to try to get my hand all the way down in my pocket with my gloves on, because that's just not hardly going to happen. Having this pocket clip has been great. I'm probably going to be pulling this off before too long though, just because I do enjoy carrying this outside of work. So probably going to be removing that, putting some more scoring or something on the back side of this and on the front side of this, just to give it a little more character and to give it a little more texture. But aside from that, there's not really anything else I would do to this knife. It's great just the way it comes. Go out there and get y'all one. Thanks for watching. Y'all be good. I'll see you on the next one.